Thank you for tuning in. You're in for an educational treat. What is one profession where you don't ever want to hear them genuinely say oops on the job? A tattoo artist. The one I worked for would say it all the time, just to mess with the client. 2 O's in Bob, right? You goddamn right there is. So I did hear someone say oops, while I was getting a needle aspiration biopsy for thyroid cancer, and they were looking to see where to go in with an ultrasound. The doctor takes a stab and the radiology tech goes, oops, nope, that's her jugular. And they just kind of laughed and shrugged and kept going, so apparently I was the only one who found that untoward. Well yeah, I'm glad I didn't read stories like this before I had my own FNA biopsy. Endocrinologist numbed my neck up really well and got samples really quickly. In my case it did turn out to be cancer, but I got rid of it. Smile. I hope the same for you if it was a positive biopsy. I have 2 personal experiences that fit this, but maybe weren't that bad. 1. I was getting a colonoscopy, and the anesthesiologist comes in to go over the process with me and drops his clipboard, making papers go flying everywhere. He drops down to pick them up and huffs under his breath, "Ugh, it's just one of those days." I was like, great, yeah, I'm gonna die. 2. I had to get a wisdom tooth taken out. The dentist comes in wearing flip-flops, shorts, a Hawaiian shirt, and is limping. Plops down on his seat and goes, "Here we go." It totally looked like he woke up hungover as balls to come operate on my mouth. The best dental experience I've ever had was an old guy in a Hawaiian shirt who was acting kinda similarly. That's the only effing dentist who has ever actually fully numbed my mouth before working on my teeth. I am extremely resistant to local anesthetics, unfortunately. I legit had a dentist say this one time while he was working on my teeth. I immediately tensed up and tried asking what happened, but my mouth was forced open, and as soon as he heard me say something he told me to try not to talk, and so I had no choice but to go back to just being still. For some reason once he was all done, I either forgot to ask what happened or I intentionally decided not to. But yay, that was incredibly frightening, even if it seems nothing major came of it. Honestly, they probably just dropped something in your mouth and didn't want you to swallow or aspirate it. It happens. I once went to the doctor because I had an issue with a nail root on my finger. He just said, I don't know what that is. Let's try cutting it. I promptly started bleeding all over the table and he goes, well that was probably a bad idea. I should really change doctors. Bungee jump operator. No idea what the actual job title is, but I'm sure you know what I mean. In my intro to engineering class in college, one team project everyone worked on was a bungee jump simulation, where we had to calculate the correct length of cord needed for the attached weight to drop from a height, get close to the floor, but not touch the floor, based on the stretchiness of the cord or whatever. I changed majors so I don't remember the details. Only one group didn't have their weight hit the floor. I knew at the end of that project that I would never be an engineer, a bungee jump operator, or a person who goes bungee jumping. Let me guess, everyone forgot to take momentum into their calculations? Surgeon. You know what they say, surgery is just stabbing someone back to life. This is why you aren't a surgeon, Darla. Who says I'm not? This isn't as critical as some jobs, but when I was in school for computer IT in the late 90s, our teacher always emphasized that if we ever have to make a house call to fix a person's computer, never say oops, people freak out. That said, I never want to hear the guy in charge of hitting the nuclear launch button say oops. I have a friend who is a dentist and he always joked that he never said oops when he makes a mistake. He just says rinse. Whenever they accidentally make you bleed, they just say it's BCAUS YUD loss e no uck. Nuclear missile operator. Oddly enough, people have said oops a surprising amount and nothing's really happened. Countries, mostly US, have lost a terrifying amount of nuclear weapons. The US specifically is not good with nuclear weapons. One missile silo was reported as being wide open and the operators were asleep. They ordered a pizza and the pizza guy just found a nuclear weapon which he could have gotten a friend and launched. IT. Oops in IT can mean anything from oops, accidentally reset the wrong password, to oops, accidentally pushed a patch requiring a reboot and now every server is rebooting. Source, IT person. Or in the case of Tom Scott, accidentally making thousands of irreversible changes to a database. Barber. Well, hair grows back. Ears don't. Happened to me when I was like 13, luckily it was just a sliver. Unluckily it was my good ear and not the pointy elf ear that could have used a little off the top. Chef when they're chopping things with a knife. It was bad. A good professional chef knife can be sharp as hell. I have a good one, but I'm afraid to use it. Use it, it will change cooking for you. You can just end up with more protein in your dinner. Airplane pilot. Surgeon. Prostitute. One of those is unique, haven't read that yet on these questions. What scenario would a prostitute say oops? I don't need sleep, I need answers. Oops, see you in 9 months. Bomb squad. There's a well-known story about that. A guy asked a bomb squad guy how stressful his job was. He responded with, it really ain't stressful at all. You see, I'm either right, or it's very suddenly no longer my problem. They don't usually have time to vocalize it. In fairness, when we say oops, it's usually a good thing. Or, someone is now an amputee. A medical specialist. A good friend had to have a spinal tap for intracranial hypertension. She had no one to go with her and she was very scared, so I went with her so she wouldn't be alone. As the neurology registrar put the needle in, he says oh crap under his breath, but loud enough that we both heard. My friend suddenly says, is it supposed to feel like it's in my lung? The registrar looked at his supervisor with a look of sheer panic. Luckily my friend was lying face down so she couldn't see what was happening. The supervising neurologist took over, pulled the needle out and put it in correctly, at which point my friend let out an awful cry and the procedure was done within a couple minutes. I told her what happened the next day, figured no point scaring her while she needed to relax/recover. My dad was cutting my hair to about an inch long when I was about 8 years old. He was trimming the front of my hair and I hear him say oops. Big, square bald chunk that connected to my forehead lol. Roller coaster technician. Always take a few rusty bolts with you to the theme park. On the initial climb, pull one out and tell the person next to you it just fell out their seat. That's the oldest trick in the book, but it's brilliant because no one expects it, especially when you drop the bolt onto the track by accident while upside down and derail the carriage. What would have been your answer or question? Leave it in the comments below. Slap that like and subscribe button for more, and check out the link in the video description for even more answers. Peace out, and catch you in the next video.